Time to tinker and talk the night away. Grab your glue and paints, we're back again. It's model making day. From classic cars to soaring planes and steam trains on the track. Whether die-cast builds or part work kits, there's no turning back. So let's tinker and talk, just you and me, building dreams from plastic, one sprue at a time. You see, whether sanding down or fitting parts, we share the joy, that's how it starts. Come along, let's tinker and talk the night away. Oh, got a Mustang here and a Spitfire too, maybe a steam train. The smell of glue, the sound of chat, in this world we all remain. Got a tip or trick, then drop it in chat. We build as friends, not just fans. This bench is open, the stream is live. Come lend a helping hand. Yeah, we tinker and talk with laughs and care. The hobby's better when you've got good folks to share. From sanding wheels to fixing wings, we celebrate the little things. So come on in, let's tinker and talk the night away. Screws and glue, just me and you, talking shop till the model's through. A misstep here, a perfect fit. We cheer each other every bit. Let's tinker and talk under workshop lights, chasing calm and joy through long creative nights. From revel kits to die-cast dreams, we're builders, makers, part of a team. It's Tuesday night, let's tinker and talk the night away.
Good evening everyone and welcome to another Tinker and Talk Tuesday. So, as you've seen from the thumbnail, going to be working on the Flying Scotsman. But before we get to that, I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek at how the A-Team van is progressing. Now, I haven't bolted anything together. This is purely, I've printed a load of parts and I've mocked it up. It's big. So, the pixel mat is working really well. I've stabbed a couple of screwdrivers in to stop it from all falling over like a deck of cards. But it's going well. I have primed bits of the front just to see how much sanding I'm going to have to do. Good news is, it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot. I'm using a high build primer on that. I'll cover that in the next video when I do the next part of assembly. But yeah, so far it's really going well. I've still got the door to print, and the big components I've still got to do is the door, the rear doors, and then I think that's pretty much the entire bodywork done. And then I've got the floor pan done, but then it's all the chassis part and the workings of the axles, etc. But so far, going really well. I'd like to say I've been working on it really, a lot, but really the K1 Max has been doing all the work for me. I've just been sending it to print stuff and this is the result. So yeah, really happy with that. And I've sent Mike a couple of photos of it on the pixel mat, so he's got some photos for his website. So yeah, looking really good. But I can move that out of the way now and then we can concentrate on the Flying Scotsman. I would show you on the workbench, but this is so big it doesn't really fit on camera. Let's just put that there. No, hopefully it doesn't all fall over. So let's move to the workbench. And yeah, literally you would have seen the roof of it. Let's turn those lights on. Now, I have brought Flying Scotsman down. Let's zoom that camera up a bit. Looking just like this at the minute. I have brought it down because, in theory, if I get through the first stage, which is stage 81, the next stages are actually going to be adding some of the coupling rods to the sides of the chassis. So, all going well. I'm not going to progress this too far. This probably won't get featured next week on Tinker and Talk, just because I need to recolour these wheels. And if you remember with the Mallard, what I did, I made sure all the wheels, etc., were all painted and sorted out before having to put the coupling rods on, so I didn't have to take them all apart again. I'm going to try and do the same thing for this, but I do need to get some new decals for the side of the wheels, because they're basically just broken with age. They were never obviously clear coated to really seal them in. So this side's not too bad. But yeah, certainly this side, quite a lot of them have broken away. Now, I did consider trying to paint those, just putting a brush on there and spinning the wheel, but I don't think it's ever going to be as good as putting a decal on there. So that's the next thing I'm going to be doing with the chassis. So if I do get the point of putting the coupling rods on, which I think it only just is a case of link from there to here, then I will take that apart and get these wheels painted in the correct colour, which is more this colour as opposed to that colour. Might just be able to see a difference on camera. Hey Bergdis and Chris, Spider Sprue. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Spider. No. Certainly not for propping up the sides, anyway. I'm just going to show you this off first of actually we get into anything. Got to thank Chris for this. Looks fantastic. What I'm going to do with this, Chris, I've decided I'm going to put a box frame around it and probably illuminate it from the back. So it will be illuminated like this from the back. So that's what I'm going to do. Whether it stays on the shelf, I don't know. It might go on the wall if I can do that. So not sure yet, but looks absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much, Chris. Right, so believe it or not, this is all that's left of the Flying Scotsman. I think it's about 40 issues. Although it's 40 from there to there. Actually, it's 45. But I'm pretty sure that some of the issues are missing in this, so it might still be about 40 issues to finish up. So if I move that out of the way, and I can show you what we're doing. So we've got this bit, a little bit wavy, so I'm hoping that it'll straighten out when I've taken the parts out and I've bent them to the shape that they need to be. But that's what happens when you store something in a box for 10 years, or 10 plus years probably. So that's all the parts we've got in this one. Got to drill a couple of holes, bend a couple of bits, and basically this is creating the crossheads. So we'll have that at the end of it. We created these parts last time, and then we just need this part, which we're creating this time. Got a bit about the Orient Express there. And I still have to be amazed at this, like the price of it, $4.99 an issue. Can you imagine paying $4.99 an issue now? What are they, 12, 13 pounds almost? Yeah, that's brilliant, Chris. Yeah, I'd say it does work quite well. So I considered two ways of illuminate it. Either illuminate it from the back, which I think will look quite good. The other thing is I thought about maybe having a box around it and having LEDs around it, but I think it will just be too washed out and cast too many shadows. So I think from behind is definitely the way to do it. Right, so we get this little bit of wavy material. I'll find a bit of wood as well, because I need to drill some holes, and this should be much easier than the other material. And let's just find out which holes we need to drill. So we need to drill these two at 1mm and these two at 1.5mm. Now, if I was clever, I'd probably have a drill prepared, but I don't know if I do. Don't know what that is. That one's definitely a 1mm. And that's these two that we need to do for that. So just zoom that in a bit and then you can see it a little bit better. Alright, and then we need 1.5mm for the other ones. Now, it doesn't look like there's going to be a great deal to do in this. I think that's 1.5. It looks like it's just a case of bend these up and then create the crossheads. And then the next stage is adding them to the chassis. So, shouldn't take long, in theory. Right, so that's all the holes we need to do, nice and simple. No need for the diamond drill bits this time, Chris. Right, first parts we are going to need are these parts, which is apparently the reversing rod. See if I can get that to clip out. There we go. That's a bit. And we need to just laminate these together. You can see how badly bent they are. But this is really quite thin material. So I'm hoping by the time they're laminated together, this is actually quite thicker. That's a much thinner part. I think that's got the detailing on it, that's why. And Supra, I've got the next pack. What are we doing? Oh, we're doing electrics in the next pack. Or are you asking whether you should do the Supra? And in that case, yeah, you definitely should. Hey, Ed. And what have I got here at the minute? I've got the Supra I've got the RB19 from Wayne. I've got the ROKR DB5 that I need to continue on with. Well, I say continue on with. I start with really after doing the diorama build. Right, so we need that to go on to there. Pretty sure it goes that way around because we've got this little detail piece on the top here. The camera will focus, and you can probably see that it's all etched all the way down. So we'll take that drill bit. Don't know if it's a 1mm or not, but if it fits in the hole and allows me to line this up, it will be used, which it will. So that's absolutely fine. Grab a clamp, I think, and hopefully this clamp will help, one, align these parts together, and two, straighten them out before I glue them. I'm not worried about the rough edge at the moment because I'll just I'll tie those up once it's all glued together. The important thing, obviously, make sure this hole is lined up, which looks pretty good. So if I clamp it just there as well, and then we can do that. And we can run some glue just down the edge. Gonna need this end clamping as well. No, it'll probably mean the clamp will get glued to it, but hopefully should be able to get that off nice and easily. Right, so with those glued, I'll put that to one side. And then we need these parts, but I don't think we're doing anything with them this time around, so I might just leave them on the sprue. Yeah, I'm going to leave those on the sprue for the moment because we're not actually doing anything with those at the moment, and it's easy to get those sort of things lost or bent. What we do need are these parts. This one and this one. Oh yeah, definitely the Supra than Bergdis. It'll look good next to the skyline. Yep, probably. At least one's going to get glued, and I think it's this end one. Actually, not too bad. But I've only glued in between the clamps, so theoretically, should be fine. Right, go find my larger pliers, I think. There we go. Then we need to bend this up 90 degrees. Just going to do them partly first of all. And this is where a smaller pair of pliers is going to come in handy. Now, they're meant to be parallel. So, need some way of trying to straighten this out a little bit. So, hopefully, using my larger pair of pliers, we'll do that. looking too bad actually. Right. I think that's probably as good as it's going to get at the moment. I'm hoping once it's all attached to other parts, it will straighten itself out even more, or certainly not be as noticeable that it's bent. And with any luck, it won't really impede the motion. And other than this section at the moment, I've not really seen much in the way of damaged parts. It just happened to be that this one I think got put in the box and then just happened to be on top of other parts and crushed and bent. Doesn't help that it's quite thin, this one, and obviously long. Yeah, it's not too bad. So let's bend that around. And attempt to get them level. I think we're good there. Just clip that little piece off. Right, so with those bent, we now need the part from the last issue, which I need to find. These parts. Oh, we've also got a detail plate to put on here as well. So let's try and work out if there's a right and a wrong side. Doesn't look like it. As long as we got one left one, one right one, we should be fine, I think. So one detail plate and the other detail plate. And then that just leaves those two pits, which, as I say, not doing anything with at this stage. So it is telling me to do both of them, isn't it? Let's just double check that. Yes. Just trying to ensure that the detail plate goes on the correct side. It looks like if I take on this one, that's going to be this one, and the detail plate is going to go on this side, like so. Now it might have been easier to do that before bending it, because I could have clamped it much easier. So let's just bend that open a little bit, get that lined up using that clamp. Right, doesn't look too bad. I think we're relatively lined up. It's this slot we're interested in getting lined up more than anything else. that looks pretty good. I think it needs to probably go towards the back a little bit. Let's go with that one, I think, as a position. Yeah, we're still sure it needs to go back further. It might just be I end up doing this by eye and just tacking it with a bit of glue. Right, let's do that. Just can put a little bit of glue on the end there, and then we'll tack that just in place, and probably glue my fingers to it. Right, I think I did alright actually. I think that slot is lined up pretty good. So now I will clamp this end. And then we can just put some glue down there. And I'll just leave that like that. In fact, if I leave it that way, the glue will run down that side. So I'm going to do this one the opposite way. And again, I think I'm just going to, rather than struggle with the clamp, I'm just going to tack it with some glue. Now, if I don't do the Flying Scotsman during the week and sort out the colour of the wheels and the decals, which I'm highly not likely to do, next week, I don't actually know what I'm going to do. I do have the wooden ship, the Seahorse Bark from ROKR to do as an option. I've also got a Gundam model that I could do. So I might end up doing a poll during the week, what you want to see on the live stream. Only because I don't want to put too much work into the coupling rods, as I said, and then have to take them all apart again. Because I didn't think that was a brilliant idea with the mallard, so I didn't do it. Right, that's going to get glued to my board. Right, need to run a bit of glue down there because I didn't do it earlier. Right, excellent. I think that's an absolutely fantastic build. Mine works absolutely perfectly. What I did with that, you can get like liquid wax, like wax oil or something like that. I can't remember what it's actually called. Didn't have any of that. So what I ended up doing was taking a bit of the wax, and I can probably show you on this board actually. I just rubbed it in like that. And then, now this is not the World of Wayne channel, okay, but I then used fire. And all I did was heat that up and it melted into the wood. And then I've had no issues with it getting stuck, moving around, or doing anything it shouldn't do. So there's my top tip for you for doing that model. There probably is other ways. As I say, I know you can get liquid wax, and I've seen other people use it, but as I said, didn't have that, so wax and melt it. And that absorbs straight into the wood. But as I say, wooden models and fire don't usually mix, so use caution if you do that technique. Just letting the glue set on this for a minute before I move on to the next stage. So I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Yeah. Well, I had a problem with the arm, arm that comes around the space shuttle, and the end of the shuttle. Let's zoom out that camera a minute. So the one that comes with the shuttle stand up this way, the one that comes round this way, that one kept getting stuck. So yeah, all it did was basically wax up the platform and melt it. And I did originally just put wax there, thinking, oh, that'll do it. But no, all it did, it seemed to make it worse until I melted it. Right, so let's pick this one, I think. Nope, it's this one I'm interested in first. So this crosshead needs to go into that gap like that and be able to move forward and backwards. I picked up some glue from somewhere because I've got my finger stuck to that. Right, so that's going to need a little bit of tweaking, and I think I've got a bit of liquid glue still there as well. So I'll clean that one up. I'm going to assume that this needs to go all the way to the end travel wise, so maybe I should have put that in there to actually bend this into the right shape. Now this isn't obviously going to be a running model, but at the very least I'd still try and like to get the motion working, but that's very, very twisted, and that's not my bending, it's the it was the part. I'm just assuming that will go all the way to the back when it's in motion. Don't know if there's issue with the mallard. I think they were constructed differently, if I remember rightly. I believe this part was much more solid metal as opposed to the flimsy sheet metal. I'm sure I've said it before, I can see where sort of improvements were made from like the Flying Scotsman model to the mallard model. And have we seen the Hachette trial for the new Flying Scotsman? At least twice the size of this one. Obviously, it's very much like the standard part works now, so pre-painted, out the box sort of thing, ready to go. I think it's got steam, live steam, which will probably just be water vapor or something like that, like a mist generator. But looks good. If they do release that, I might do that one. Right, so that's the last little bit. This seems to be very stiff. Don't know if it's glue or whether it just gets stuck at that end bit. That goes to the back. Might be that it's not quite 90 degrees. Right. That seems much better. Something was going to hold that together at some point, I am sure. But we'll run along there. So, happy with that. What I will do is just run the scalpel in there, and that'll get rid of any of the glue that might have seeped into this section. See if that's any better. I think so. Right, so that's that. Got no way of fixing that at the moment. It's just that. Oh, it looks like in the next stage we're going to be fixing that a little bit better. And I think I need to find another part from the previous issue. Just going to clean up the inside of this one. So that's going to go this way around. I think this is actually a little bit straighter than the other one. And it shows, because that's working absolutely fine on that one. Which is great. So, no fiddling with that one. That's those two. And then, just having a quick look at the next stage, we need the fillet bars from issue 77, which I should have nearby, he says. There's one of them. Just need to find the other one, which would have been 78, I think. I'm still amazed that so far nothing seems to have been lost in the years of storage. Alright, so we need these parts. And they're going to go in here. Like that, I believe. Let's have a double check. Yeah, I'm sure it's that way up. This does have a little bump up, as does this. So just going to try and line that up. Whilst also retaining that piece in there. And also trying to get everything straight. So let's see if we can get a clamp on that. Alright, I think that's where it needs to go. And that still moves forward and backwards, which is perfect. It's still a little bit bent. Although as long as that doesn't fall out of the guide, then I'm not too worried about it being a little bit bent. Maybe I'll just tweak it a little bit. I think that'll do. And I think I'm happy with that position. So let's just tack that with a little bit of glue. How long is the BR01? Because when I saw the say the length of the news Flying Scotsman, it's like twice as long as this. It's like over 1 metre long. And I think full length of this is only, I don't know, it probably struggled to reach 50 centimetres, I think. Right. We shall clamp that one like so. That seems acceptable. And we get some glue on that. Obviously trying to avoid anywhere that's going to be moving. Right. There we go. And that is all it's doing at that stage. We did also have these parts in this issue, but I've not required those this time around. Now that was stage 81. 82 and 83, I believe, were these parts going on. That was both sides. So 84 looks like it's partly been done as well, because I put these cylinder blocks on the sides. We've done this. I remember doing this actually on a live stream, these parts. I think this was before I organised everything. So we need to make sure we cut that piece to 22mm. That's going to attach to there, and the rod's going to go on the centre point there, and then we've got those points going in there, and that's basically the same thing I think in 85. So don't think there's anything extra to do in 85. So deal with that, which we've done, and then make sure that one's 22mm. Mount it in. I don't know if that actually glues in or whether it's a slot. Put that on there. We do have a nut. I don't think I've got a washer in there though. Might have to find a small washer if I've got one. I need to make sure that that fits in the right place. Try and work out what we potentially would need to glue and what we need to take apart. Do not glue it in positions that will need to be removed. So yeah, we're not gluing that piece there at the moment. Okay, so that's actually longer than what the Flying Scotsman would be. Yeah. Oh, presumably without the tender, is that? It's quite big without the tender then. Right, so let's work out which side we need to do first and what we need to do. So it's going to be this side first. And we need to make sure this is 22 millimeters, which I think that's well oversized at the minute. So yeah, we're getting close to probably 30 mil. Let's just find, that'll do. So it's from this little knuckle piece here. We need to be 22 mil. So 22 is just there. Now they've made it really useful. We could have known that fact before putting it in this point, and then it would have made it easier to cut it with the larger cutters that I've got. Let's find a pencil to mark that, I think. "22" is there. Right, let's see if I can use these cutters on there. Just about. And then somewhere I should have a file. And just smooth and round off that end. That should do. So that is going to go on this side of the engine. Let's see whether that's going to fit in the hole. Right, so that, oh, okay, I see. The crosshead needs to slide into that point, I think. Nope. There's actually a rectangular hole in the cylinder block for this to go into. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not because I know it's black, but just there is a hole which that needs to sit into. Oh, it actually goes in. Thought I might have to adjust the size on that. Right, then this should go into that point and hopefully it'll move. Might need to smooth that shaft down a bit or drill the hole out. It's probably going to be easier to get a circular file in that, I think. Finding a circular file is a different matter though. There we go. So that will sit in the cylinder block, hopefully. There we go. That will then go in there. I don't know how far that clearly needs to go much further forward though. So I think I need to shape this a little bit. Yeah, do that because the glue's not obviously fully set at the minute. Super glue is not as instant as everyone thinks it is. Right, that'll do. Right, so let's see if we can get that going now. So I don't want it to glue in there, that's the main issue. That's now coming apart again. Right, okay, right. Let's glue that one back up like that. And then I'll leave that to one side. And then we'll concentrate on the other side. So this needs to be cut down as well. To 22, which is there. Thereabouts. Now this is really easy stuff to cut because it's nice soft metal. Now bear in mind that this is obviously a running model, or can be a running model. This metal seems really soft and easy to bend. So if you were making it a running model, you have to make sure it's 100% straight and smooth and all sorted. On the mallard, this metal was actually a lot stronger. Now with the Scotsman, I know we didn't get any replacement parts for the running gear, or the wheels or anything like that. I know we did the mallard. They gave us some extra, different wheels. Mainly for running. But I don't believe there was anything like that for the Flying Scotsman. Let's see how far this can go in. Okay, that goes in a lot further. But can I get this to go in? Might need to round out that hole a little bit as well. Yeah, I think it did say 120 issues. But it'd be interesting if it comes to light. In contrast, this one's 125 issues. And half the size. But it's also probably a third of the price as well, compared to nowadays pricing. Right, let's see whether that will go in there or not. No. Why is that not going in? That slides in, but that isn't. It's very stiff to go in there. Oh, I thought this was going to be a nice, quick, simple job. But not, as it turns out. Now I think I'm going to have to actually put a drill bit in there, maybe. Because I can keep making it rounder with the file, but obviously it will open up the front part of the hole, because obviously it's tapered. Let's just make sure that nothing's catching on this part. What time is it? 5 minutes, so I'm going to take these off anyway, so not a big deal. Just wanted to see whether I can get them to go on the sides, but I can partially get it on, so it would be like that. That's how it's going to look. And then we have these parts, which we do need to glue in, and that's going to go on there. Now, I'm not going to glue it to the crosshead, but I am going to glue it to the frame of the engine. So I'll put those two bits in, I'll glue those in, and then that will be the end of this stage. You can see that's all twisted and bent actually. Or is it meant to be shaped like that? I don't know. No, it can't be shaped like that, because one looks like it's bent one way and one looks like it's bent the other way. So, might need a bit of a tweak when it comes to doing the final assembly. Just going to get them to look straight, I think. Again, very soft metal, so trying to be careful not to break them. And to be fair, if I broke them, I could probably 3D print these parts. Right, I'm just going to sit that like that. So I've got the crosshead on this side, which will allow me to semi-position it in the right place. Might need a bit more glue there. Give it a wiggle. What I should have done is scrape a bit of the paint away, so it's not gluing to the paint, it's gluing to the metal then. But these were a pain to do on the mallard as well. Although they weren't die cast like this, I had to form these parts at about 3 different pieces. Right, so that's glued in there, but not glued to the crosshead, so I can still remove the crosshead, because obviously I need to do that, I need to do the wheels. That's still gluing up, so I'm not going to try and force that into place at the moment. Let's do it. If it breaks, it breaks. Let's see whether I can get it to go in further. Knew that would happen. That one's come off. Right, can that go in all the way? Ish. And no, I'm not going to continue fiddling with this and give you a satisfying finished photo after the stream ends like Wayne would. Mainly because, as I say, this is going to get taken apart again. I'm not even going to undo that nut to put this on there. But with that crosshead in place, it means hopefully I can get this in a better position. Because that actually sits in that crosshead. There we go. And the other one's fallen off. Yeah, I definitely need to take the paint off the off of this. so it'll adhere better. I've got some epoxy I could use actually as well. Right. That's where I'm going to leave it. So that is all to do in that stage, which is stages 81, 84 and 85 done. So all looking good. Yeah, I thought it was 120 issues. But certainly be good, like I say. It's like 110 centimetres, I think, with tender. I'm assuming it's with the tender. 110 centimetres. Be pretty long if it was plus the tender. Be good to see if we can get a teak carriage or something. Right, now we switch cameras, and we shall end the stream. When my keyboard wakes up, there it is. Right, so thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me for that. What I thought was going to be a nice, easy thing. Just put a couple of bits on the engine. Turned out to be a bit more difficult, as usual with the Flying Scotsman, or even how the Mallard progressed really. I'm going to put those two bits safely to one side because they're buffer beams parts, I think, so we're not going to need those for a while, I don't think, but we shall see. It's either going to be for the front of that, or it's going to potentially be for the tender, which we haven't done much for at the moment. We haven't revisited the tender for a little while. It's up there on the shelf at the moment, but we shall see how that progresses. So, as I say, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you next week. Watch out for a poll for what to do next week, because as I say, I'm almost certainly not going to get the wheels done on this one, ready for progressing the coupling rods, etc. I don't know if there is any more coupling rod work to do as the next issue. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, we still want to do more coupling rods next week. So I will leave that because, as I say, don't want to take them all apart again. So, so as I say, check out the poles. It's probably going to be the Seahorse Bark. I've got a Gundam model in there, and I've got this couple of metalwork things. So it's probably going to be one of those. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel for any of those. And as usual, make sure you hit the like button on this video, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Cheers.